So we've done quite a few videos lately, and I don't know, I've never really wanted to just make one right after the other, but these things keep coming to me and coming to me. I mentioned in a few of my videos about riding the fence with this economy and what's going to happen nationally or globally. Sometimes I think it's just going to be a severe recession. Things are going to hit a few people, and then we'll all sort it out and it'll get back to normal, or something new or whatever will come out of it. And then every once in a while I start getting wind of things coming at me that, no, this is playing just the way that I thought it was going to happen, and almost like a sobering reminder to me of things that I already may know. And when I say what I know of me, I don't necessarily mean that I alone may possess any God-given knowledge. There's probably many people that have suspected all along. There's lots of good books and videos and all kinds of articles written about the whole situation coming. But for me, I've always kind of had this underlying notion that the world as we know it is not real. And I guess in my younger years, well, I'm not that old, but I guess in my early 20s, maybe my late teens, I started realizing that the economy that we have it's not real. It's a false economy. It's based all on cheap energy and products we don't need, and busy services, and people have positions and jobs that pay wages, but you got to wonder, what are they actually doing and producing? This kind of stuff as a whole. And of course, when you're a kid, you grow up and you see cars. You don't know that there wasn't cars at one time. My children are at that stage now, and eventually they're going to find out that really this isn't the world that's always been. And as I started dawning on that, that's when I really started questioning a lot. Now, for me personally, I think one of the reasons why I may have a jump on this over the average man is because, for me, I've always kind of lived in a recession or depression. I've never really had economic stability in my personal life. I've never really had a stable job, other than, say, the last maybe 7 years, I guess, since we moved to the town. So in 7 years I've never even really had a stable residence. I got married and we had our first child. That was a nightmare at first. I was injured and had to work for a bit. Well, long story short, I'm not here to give a great big biography. I might someday, but we had our first apartment, and I promised my wife that we would not lose that apartment. And just having been through some of the turmoil that we had been through, and I went through quite a few jobs, and it's not like I couldn't take a certain job, I couldn't handle, and I would just quit. Usually it's just layoffs. I would, or the job would be a short term. Or this is kind of the story of my life. This is just how it ended up to be. I've never really had any formal education. I certainly had no trades. I've worked in a lot of stuff. Various, anything from some of the stuff I've done with my Homestead series to my economic collapse, series with some of my analytical skills. But at my particular point in life, nobody's really going to give me a job given on any of the skills that I have. I have no pieces of paper to say that I can fix things, or no piece of or diploma that says that I can be a financial advisor. So we've really been trying to get this homestead. See, for a long time I've had a notion that basically the underlying economics that even God has created was agriculture, and all the other trades that exist really are very important, but they all kind of stem off the soil in the end, you know. And I always knew that agriculture was a good route and a safe haven to be in. I mean, you're subject to weather. I mean, no trade is perfect. There's no doubt about it. But even in the Depression, with the exception of the Dust Bowl areas, I remember hearing first-hand accounts from people as my age permits me to, you know, have spoken to many people that went through this depression. Sometimes I never heard the end of it, right? And they always said, you know, the farm kids ate well. The farm kids were warm. They weren't as sick, you know. Now, I guess because of what happened with me growing up, I had bought a business, and I unknowingly had bought a sinking ship, so to speak, and within 8 months of me subsidizing and eventually having no money to keep the doors open, I went bankrupt. And this was in my very early 20s, I'm 22 I think. I've always sort of been economically up against the wall. It's always been kind of like a depression for me, looking for a job. I mean, that was back in 92 when we had the recession, 91 I think, and it was hard enough just getting a job even then. You know, as I graduated high school, it just seemed to begin slowly worse and worse. And fortunately, I had this cabin that I could go to. I mean, there was no running water, and there was hydro, but there was no real. It wasn't winterized or anything. But no, I went there, and you know, that was really, for me, that was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I started learning about agriculture and that. Having been in the farming community. But boy, I've kind of got off track and I've lost my point now, but I'm always kind of living in that fear, you know, like I'm in a depression. And now, I guess what my question and what's bothering me lately is that if I've been, you know, barely able to stay afloat through good times and times of economic growth, with the exception of 91, we had a small recession in 2000. It wasn't too bad. Some automotive people got laid off, and then they had a big boom after that, right? So, I mean, I look at it now and I say, well, if I've had this much of a struggle through, you know, the oil age that we are on the tail end of, in my opinion, and economic booms and, you know, record low interest rates and, you know, flowing credit, all these opportunities, where am I going to be in the next 3 years? You know, I have skills. You know, I'm physically capable. I've got some knowledge, but you know, I have debt. You know, I have a mortgage. I have to heat this place, and we have a nice homestead. We can have a nice sized garden. I've got a small barn. I've got, you know, rabbits. I have that for meat. But I have to import feed for them. This is a business at this point. It's not really based on any homestead value. I've got no firewood. So I'm finding myself knowing all